Hey guys, this is UC. Welcome to the weekly episode of I Trade Price, where we go through and some of the core charts that we follow and trade here. So let us get started. Since we have the weekly bars since the week closed, so let's start off with the weekly time frame. Amazon here, sort of an inside week, but with a higher low here. And if I drill down to a daily time frame, you will see that this multiple sort of top has been this 3250, 3245 area has been a resistance since the past few weeks now, and every time the stock trades there we see a little bit of pullback, but the pullback has been getting shallower and shallower. As you can see, we are making these higher lows here in the daily time frame, which is good. We are consistently above 20 SMA. So any move down, I would say 3100 becomes the first support, and a little bit below that is 20 SMA line. That is also going to be a support. But if we are to give up that move, we have a little bit of gap here, and then this down trend line can be a backtest support, but also this major trend line which it has held all throughout in the past few months now. If I were to just God, let me just do it auto. There you go. So this, it has held this trend line up, trend line multiple times, right? So it is a super support. So we can see on any pullback if that becomes support and can give a good risk and reward trade from that point onwards for the call side. But if we are to give up that level 3050 and this trend line, then definitely we can see all the way down to 2995, 3000. That's a psychological support that has held multiple times here, so that becomes a super support. But as the earnings are behind us and the market is still in an uptrend, so the path of least resistance is up. But just on a higher time frame, look for this 3250 resistance to be broken to kind of test the all-time highs here. Okay. And if I drill down to say a 4 hourly time frame, you can see again higher lows, and we don't get a whole lot of bearish follow through to the downside every time we see a red bar, right? So again, on the Friday towards the last half of the session, we saw a little bit of buyers come through and take the price up a little bit, still below from where we started off and below this 50% move of this 4 hourly bar, but not bad overall. Okay, let's go to Apple. So Apple, big bullish bar and then a little bit of follow through, top wick in weekly. So daily time frame would give a little bit of more flavor to what's happening. So we saw some sort of consolidation. We saw Thursday big move up, but then we got an inside bar with a little bit of pullback. Still, 441 was a big time resistance on the way up, right? Since this consolidation started, every time we would try to go above that, and it's more visible in the 4 hourly time frame. Every time we tried to go move back above 441, we would get a pullback. However, on Thursday we did see a breakout, nice follow through to the upside, but then an immediate move down, and then 441 became support. So any move below 441, this 435, 433 area is a support level because of this consolidation zone here, where was this kind of congestion. So if we are to go below this congestion zone, then we have this gaps that we need to fill below 431. So look for that 431, like lower 430s to be a support. But if we are to break down below 431, this gap remains unfilled, and we can look for that gap to be filled all the way towards 425. So a lot of volume here, and we will have, if we are to go back to daily, so 20 SMA, 50 SMA are way down, so those supports are not in play for right now, but we'll just see how these move as the stock progresses. So we can see some chop here, and remember the split is happening towards the end of the month, so the stock can somewhat remain well bid going into that, because we will have four stocks in place of one, so people can just kind of want to hold on to this name until we see the split itself. Okay, let me see if in a 2 hourly time frame, yeah, it was congestion zone here, and now we're kind of got a pullback and we're above this 441 support. So anything back above, we can go back, test the all-time highs. Anything if we are to break down 441, we have this congestion support. The low end is 435 here. Okay, Microsoft, weekly time frame, got a good gap up move last week, right? But it did not really go anywhere. We just kind of, after that big gap up on Monday, we just kind of went sideways to this sort of box kind of a thing, right? So if I were to draw a little bit of a range here, so this is the range. So a lot of times what traders look for is the doubling of this range towards the upside or the downside. So if I were to, let's say, make a duplicate, it can be something like this, or we can have, if we are to break down, something like that, which could be nice, because that means we can fill this gap and still kind of, you know, remain sideways to neutral, not really breaking down, but this gap, you know, which is below 210 level, can be your play. If we are to see a move down 210, then definitely this can be a play. In the daily time frame, 208 level is where the 20 SMA is, which is also somewhat half point through this gap zone, which can be a support. So one can go along around that with 205, which was the resistance on the way up, which will act as support. So look for that kind of move. Anything above this previous week's high of 2017.7, look for that doubling. That can be the target around 224, 225, which is doable for a stock like Microsoft, which has been in the news recently because of the TikTok mania that is going on. So who knows? But again, we were sideways, range bound, and usually when that happens, we are looking for breakout on either side, and the targets are well defined here in the case of Microsoft. Okay, but if you look back, an overall picture, this looks like a sort of a bull flag, and then it has held all this time last week above the bull flag, so the path of least resistance remains towards the top side. Okay, Netflix, a very weird looking chart, to be honest with you. We got this big dark cloud cover bar in a weekly time frame, which is mostly considered bearish. However, we are holding this uptrend line, right? But with top wicks a little bit and not really seeing any bullish trend bars. So the pressure is down to the downside, but we have to respect this trend line. So I would say in that case, more neutral, and then there are better looking charts to trade. However, if you drill down to a daily time frame, you'll see we closed below the 20 SMA here again, and this is sort of a triple top here around 510, right? That is where a lot of people, you know, might be playing short side with the stops right above this resistance of 510. So if we are to move back above this 510, you can see a little bit of short squeeze all the way up to 524, 525 area, and there's not much market structure for this name in this zone. As you can see, we have these, you know, just big volatile bars and not much you know, well-defined support and resistance levels. So you just have to kind of keep that in mind as you as the price moves above 510. So just have to kind of give some room of error in case the price kind of goes up and then gives you a top break and falls back down. But for if you want to play the downside, just make sure that you are respecting this trend line up, because it has held on multiple occasions all the way back down till like March level since we started moving up. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Okay, let's look at Nvidia. Is one of the names that has not reported earnings so far, but they are supposed to be announcing towards the mid of this month, so probably one more week before they announce. Uh, in a weekly time frame, 388 was super support. We moved back up, and now 424, 425 is a super support where we saw this big, not a whole lot of big, but just a nice, decent bullish trend bar, right? So we have this, and then if I were to, let's say, duplicate of that, so then we can have something like this going into earnings, but earnings can sort of, kind of make the stock break down or break out. So we'll see what happens, but you got the idea of what's happening. And we have good, well-defined levels in this name. Uh, we are holding this uptrend with a little bit of this outside candle here, where on Friday stock was up but then pulled back and closed towards, not towards the low end of the day, but just in the well-defined range here. So 448 becomes sort of a pivot point, right? We have pivoted below that, we have pivoted above that, so sort of a zigzag move going into the earnings. On any move down, I would think 428, 430 is a good support level to look for any bounces. And on any move towards the upside, 460 is your first resistance. And then this channel, which has been a good, well-defined channel all throughout, is can be a good resistance point or a target point on the upside. Okay, so look for that. BA is a good name, and I know Annie has been watching that through her focus list. And if I show you a weekly bar, I think she's also holding 2 weeks out calls for 180, right? So, and I think the reason is that this is in a weekly time frame. This looks like a bullish piercing pattern here. It's like a 2-bar pattern where this bullish bar from last week closed more than 50% above the previous red bar. Okay, so that's a good bullish sign. However, we have this down trend line that we kind of have to respect and keep an eye on, because in the daily time frame you can see the stock has had a tough time going above that, and every time it touches that trend line it sells off or it pulls back a little. However, this recent pullback is not that crazy or nasty looking so far, at least in a daily time frame. There's no big bearish trend bar, and we have this little bit of bottom wick, which tells me that buyers are still interested in this name. So that is a good sign for the bulls, at least. And drilling down to a 4-hourly time frame, it's giving a little bit of bull flag kind of a flavor. So this trend line, again, watch for that trend line to break for the price to go above that for a nice continuation move higher. Swings trade can be a 180, 183, I believe, is a good target on the top side. We have a lot of multiple touch points here, so not really many resistance points here in this area between 175 and 181. So it can be a quick move up once we are above 175. So look for that. Anything below, let me see on the daily time frame. So not much happening on the downside. It gets bought up, but we'll just have these well-defined levels to look for if we need to kind of target on the downsides. And you can see this pullback in a daily time frame has been on a very low volumes, right? So that is again a good sign for bulls to kind of keep in mind as they look for this breakout to occur. All right, let's look for Roku. I know we traded this name a whole lot because of the earnings in a weekly time frame. Again, top wick, bottom wick, not much going on sideways. It has held that range since the past 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks now. Okay, in this 165, 145, 147 range, and with 147 being a key support, we are above that, so that's not bad for bulls. Daily time frame, we did manage to close above the 20 SMA. We did see a move down, but then we moved back up on Friday. We filled this gap from the earnings, but we have this top wick. So that tells me sellers are still kind of selling this name, but at the same time, buyers are not letting this fall down. So a tug war between the two, with 153 sort of area becoming the pivot point. Okay, this 20 SMA. So just more neutral for right now, and we'll just play the intraday levels. Don't really have to make an opinion on this name. Tesla has absolutely gone nowhere. The weekly, look at this last few weeks, actually a couple of weeks right there, inside week and then another inside week, with top wick, but then it's more neutral. It's not even giving up. This 1413 is a super support, so if that was to give up, 1366 comes next. So I'm not trading this name between these two ranges because it's just so choppy. However, if you want to try, just buy the dip and sell the strength if you are to trade this name. Here is the little bit of trend line that you can see that has been going on since what is that, July 13th, downtrend line, and then we have this uptrend line that is held. So sort of a triangle, kind of a getting tight, range bound. So just look for these levels to break out either way, with 1366 becoming sort of a nice support level, and on the top side anywhere between 1530 to 1560 becoming the resistance zone. If we are to get over and above that, again we can see a nice rally towards 1689. That was the support, the resistance. On any move down below 1366, 1266 and 1311 becomes super supports, and that is also the trend line. And also probably 50 SMA will catch up by the time this stock comes down, so that can be a good bounce play from that area. Okay, really quickly let's look at AMD. I know we have a position open in that name. I believe we have 90, so as long as a couple of positions in this name, so as long as in one of the credit spreads, which is I think 90 to 95 credit spread, so that means as long as we remain below 90 till August 21st, below 90 till August 21st, we get to keep the premium, right? So the stock can be anywhere in this shaded region, I don't care, and we'll get to keep the premium. And then there's another one which is for 95 and below, so there's another premium credit spread. That means anytime the stock trades below, if the stock remains below 95, as long as we get to our strike, this expiration, we can be fine. So the stock can go up and I will still be okay as long as it does not go above 95 till August 21st expiration. We get to keep the premium. So a good trade, I believe, because it has seen this nice move upside after breaking out from the 60 area. So it can just chop around, even go up a little bit, that's fine, but we won't see a super crazy move like this. I think this has already given us that gap up, move back up, and then it's just kind of slowing down now, so that's okay. And we are still giving it room to run, but as long as it remains below 95, we get to keep the premium. And then I have another one on this one, which is above bull put, which is already probably in the money, because it is, I think it's like 60 to as long as the stock does not fall below 60, we are okay. So the stock can be anywhere in this range and I'll still get to keep the premium. So few trades in this are going in our favor. And then there's another one open for Intel. As long as the stock does not go below, I think it's like 44.85 or something like that, till August 21st expiration, we get to keep the premium. So again, we have still some room for the stock to fall down, and then there's a lot of support here in this area, right? So it can give us bounces, but I'll look to kind of close this one on any move back up a little bit, just so that it's giving us that chance. But we have still only 2 more weeks, actually 1.5 more week, right? So I'm keeping it. All right, that's it for this weekly episode. If you have any questions, feedback, comments, please feel free to reach out, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.